I'll say this here, I've been married for 30 years.
Okay, 30 years. We got some knowledge up here.
Good evening. My name is Eric Williams, 23 years old. Current relationship status, single. Work in healthcare admin. Just a little bit. That's it.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Shaughnessy Haynes. I'm a retail executive for 20 years now, and I have been married for going on 8 years in October.
Okay.
Good evening. I'm Chad Williams. I am a father of one. I am divorced, and I'm a behavior interventionist. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Okay. Okay. Are y'all ready? Okay, so we're going to dive into these questions. And, I'm going to start with the men that have the most experience up here. Put you in the hot seat first, okay? Okay, Mr. Eric Dooley, what does real love and commitment look like from a man's perspective?
Well, I think real love starts with when, sometimes we have the highs and the lows, but are you willing to show that same type of love and commitment when things are not going well? I think that's what true love is. True love is willing to go through the battlefield with you, through the valley. So I think, and that's what me and my wife go on, regardless of where we are. I think we are winning, and that's what we look at. What's important now? What's important now that we take care of things that are important to us when things are not going as well.
Hold on, wait, what the young people say? Clock that seed? Clock that seed. First, do you got any follow-up for him?
Yes. I will follow up with this. What's something men may struggle with when it comes to commitment that women should be aware of, but not take it personal?
I think a lot of men struggle with if that individual is more successful at that time, but you got to realize you won. So it doesn't matter who's bringing home the most money, who has the better job. So I think a lot of times, a lot of men struggle with that woman is very successful. I mean, you met and you could have been at different stages of your career, but once you meet, it's just one. So it shouldn't be a struggle, but I know from perspective, most men will struggle that a woman is in charge.
He said a woman in charge. We can go home right now. Okay, so we're going to turn it on over to Dr. Rodney Johnson. You ready? Okay, so there's been a lot of talk about women entering their soft girl era, a time when they choose peace, softness, ease, and emotional safety over survival mode. As men, how do you view this shift, and what does it look like to support a woman who is trying to embrace that kind of softness?
So the shift is a good shift, I would say, especially when a woman allows a man to be a man to her. I love to open doors. So if a woman stays in that soft girl era, she allows me to be the man. And so I think it's a good shift. What was the second part of the question? I'm sorry.
And what does it look like to support a woman who is trying to embrace that kind of softness?
I guess for us as guys, we need to stay consistent and persistent with her in order for her to stay in that soft girl era. And I hope, in hopes that would foster her to have that mindset that she feel comfortable staying there because she know that we're going to support her staying there.
So let me ask you this. So what does it take from a man to create a relationship where a woman can fully rest in her softness?
Well, I would say it's if we can show her and tell her that we have that they can trust us. And if it's something that we are supposed to do as men, we do it. We don't drop the ball on it. So that she knows that, okay, if he's supposed to do A, he's going to do it. And I don't have to check behind him. And so if we stay consistent and persistent in that, I believe that, yes, ma'am. Yes.
Ooh, that's good, huh?
Ew.
That's good.
Okay. Like Betsy. Okay, so we're gonna go over here to one of the married men over here. Shaughnessy, what's the difference between a man who is serious about a woman and one who is just entertaining her? Let's see what you got.
For me, it's pretty simple. So it's all about his consistency with his courtship, his persistence with his pursuit, and his intentions behind his actions.
Yeah, hold on, wait. Let's unpack that. Let's rewind.
All right, rewind.
Let's rewind, because that is Facebook noteworthy. So go ahead and so they can write that again.
I got you.
Go ahead.
It comes down to his consistency in his courtship, his persistence in his pursuit, and his intentions behind his actions. That lets the female know that how serious he is about her. It's easy to go buy flowers, yes. It's easy to say, let's go to the movies. But what's my intentions behind it? Am I doing this just to kill time? Am I doing this just to keep you away from other men? Or am I doing this because I'm very serious about you?
Women, I need y'all to stand in y'all feet, because baby, he just dropped some gems in the building. Okay.
So it really comes down to the action. And as long as he's persistent in his actions, then I think the woman would know how serious that he is.
I love that. I love it. Okay. You have a follow-up for him?
I don't even have a follow-up, y'all. That was good.
Okay, Eric. What? What do you admire most about the women in your life?
It could be my family or anything.
Any
right?
women in your life?
The women in my life, I could say that they're very authentic, like they're comfortable in themselves. And that's what I admire the most, because in the world so cruel to women and men, but you got to be comfortable in yourself to kind of maneuver through the days, the daily life challenges and stuff like that. Very strong-minded. They're not easily influenced by anybody or anything out here in the world.
Yes, come on.
And that's what's important, especially like getting into the dating world and stuff like that. That's what type of woman I would look for. So that's what I
love that
admire
for
for
you.
women in my life.
Great.
So let me ask you this. What's a specific moment where a woman in your life taught you something you will never forget?
Okay. Recently, a young lady taught me that being vulnerable is not a weakness, because, most men think I can't express myself to a woman. She's not going to understand. But if a woman puts you in that comfortable state, you will be understood. So, that's...
I love that.
So
Baby,
that's...
you got Pastor over there changing spots, baby.
That is one thing I have learned from a woman that's changed my life. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Who said 23-year-olds don't know a little something? What's one thing, Kobe? What's one thing you wish women would stop being so hard on themselves about?
Probably time stamping everything, or thinking that something has to be completed by a certain date or a certain phase in your life. Like, in my observation, like, women tend to reach success, quicker than men. And likewise, to kind of carry over to what Coach said, like, you might not meet a finished product in a man as soon as we might meet a finished product in a woman. And that's okay. And I think that all comes to like being aligned and like being equally yoked. Like, you might not be where I am right now, but I want you with me where I'm going. So I would probably say time stamping everything. And I know you said one thing, but we don't need y'all to fix us. Like if it ain't together, like in that moment or in that season for him, like you got the right to be patient, but it's not your responsibility to like fix that man or prepare that man, because what happens is, I think when you pour into that fractured cup, or like what you giving ain't being retained, then that like leads to like bitterness and resentment, and that's gonna come over into my lap, and I haven't given you that, or I haven't shown you these things. But I always tell, so I have a lot of conversations with my students, like especially like my little girls and their daddy issues, and we want to go sit up under Mr. Sutton. Like maybe you teach people how to treat you, or like what you accept or what you'll tolerate, that kind of carries over. And when you're trying to fix a person, like you might be dealing, and I'm speaking from experience as a single man, as a man that's been in relationships, like you might be dealing with the worst of me while you're trying to fix me.
That's good.
That's really, yeah.
Y'all came with it tonight, huh?
We was set up.
Yeah. Okay.
That's good.
Do you have a follow-up?
Well, he almost answered what I wanted to follow up with. Because I wanted to know, like, how do men view women who are constantly striving to be perfect? And sometimes they're striving to be perfect for you to want them more versus them just being who they are. So how do you view that, and what would you say to that woman who's still striving to be what a man wants versus being who they are and being comfortable in it?
So I think E touched on authenticity, and like, do you really know you got it going on, or are you waiting for like external validation sometimes?
Sir!
Cause it's like,
Sir!
and I'll say that like even like as a man, like I feel like we as men, like we grow and we realize like the competition is in the mirror and it's a one-man race. But like typically like we find ourselves like, this is how a lot of men like weed out like who's not their friend in their life. Like I stopped hanging with the people that was competing with me because you can't cheer for me in the game. I ain't never cheered for the other team, so if I'm on the opposing side, then you can't really be a fan. You can't be a fanatic of me and mine if you working on yours. And I think women have that a lot harder than we do, because like I gotta be popping on the gram, like the girls gotta see me, like they gotta validate me, like I'm only announcing like what's next, like are you dwelling in like how far you came, or like what you've been able to accomplish. Like I think that authenticity starts like with you. So you got this successful woman and you've done like everything you could have ever imagined, but like I don't have a man, or I don't have this. So it's like I'm not whole, or I'm not full. And it's like, man, who you waiting on to tell you got it going on?
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Chad, you ready?
Ready, baby? You ready?
Okay. What do men genuinely look for in a life partner beyond physical attraction?
Confidence. Being sure of who you are, right? Because often the world is taught that a woman is a prize, right? A man is a prize as well. But when we come to the realization to know the strength and the weakness of each other, and we're looking to the place to help each other grow. So from my perspective, it's confidence and alignment. Being in alignment with yourself, centering who you are, so you don't need to go out for validation. I made a comment to a woman at work, and I said, you're very pretty. She said, why would you tell me I'm pretty if I already know that I'm pretty? I said, but there's nothing wrong with my eyes complimenting for what I see. So if I see something that I like, I see something that I want, I speak to it. I call it to me.
And call it.
And call it.
And call it. So what are some non-negotiables for you?
For me,
Yes, what are some non-negotiables?
don't make me look stupid.
That part.
Even drop them.
Don't make me look stupid. Because, you know, the thing is, I've been here for a year. I come from New Orleans. I like what I see, right? And from New Orleans, I look at the atmosphere, and I look at, I could say, the women that are in these surrounding parts. They're different. It's a different type of woman, right? You know, I was telling E, I said, when you realize that your mother, yes, is your mother, but she's also a woman, right? You understand more, right? So, yeah.
Don't make you look stupid.
Don't make me look stupid.
So could I ask that to the panel, like Coach Julie? What would you say a non-negotiable for a man? I understand. No, I'm just saying. I'm just trying to get other people's perspective. That's it. I know he is married. I'm 30, and his wife is fire. I know. But yes, what would you say is a non-negotiable?
That is a pretty tough question because I didn't have to worry about that for over 35 years.
Right.
So it's not a real
Right.
issue. But I think just because of the way that I was raised, and it doesn't make me perfect. I was raised in church by my both parents. So I did look for someone that would be evenly yoked. No question about it.
Yeah.
And the thing about it that the way that we grew, because we read the word together, and it brought us closer together. So that's something that's non-negotiable. Someone that's, I would never meet you in the club because I'm not going to the club.
Listen. Mr. Rodney, what you would say?
So a non-negotiable for me is don't compete with me. So an example would be, I'm an educated brother. I have 4 degrees. And when meeting someone and we have the conversations and I say, yes, I have 4 degrees, that makes some people feel uneasy. But my degrees or my educational plight was my goal for me. And you're going to have your goal for you. So you don't have to compete with me in order to, you know, be with me. Just love me. That's what we want, right?
Mr. Eric, what is a non-negotiable?
One of my non-negotiables is kind of like being too comfortable in your current situation. As far as like me growing up and trying to get into my career, if you just settling down where you at, because I'm trying to do a lot of things in life, I won't even look your way. But also in this day and time, the way you dress, because a lot of these girls go out half naked. And that's not nothing I condone in, because that's not the way I present myself. So we have to look, you know, the same basically.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like 2 non-negotiables for me.
What you say, Mr. Colby? Non-negotiable.
Probably accountability. And I know that's taboo or like, ooh, like it's not accountability in the sense that it's your fault or own it when it's your fault, but more accountability. Like, it's hard to find that team mindset that like older people talk about or like more seasoned couples talk about. Like you talk about like 35 years was teamwork. Like 20 years was teamwork, 15 years was teamwork. Like you getting past competition, you getting past like our ideals of ourselves, but like how like can we be authentically like accountable like to each other and accountable for our situation? Like
Yes.
when you like 35 years, somebody it's something somebody don't do in that house for 35 years. Like and it's something in them 35 years that somebody ain't never stopped doing that's annoying.
Right.
But it's 35 years and it's like I think we get there and it's like, oh, I'm not dealing with that or I'm not dealing with this. And I was almost reluctant to even participate in this because I kind of shy away from these conversations because they create the narrative that inform like how we move and like how we entertain people. Like all of this dialogue ain't healthy. And like all these conversations about what a relationship should be and what we should expect and tolerate, like that ain't all healthy.
Right.
So I'm gonna wrap it up and say probably just accountability and having like a team mindset. Like it's hard to find somebody like with a mind to work. And we both got a mind to work and like work for one another.
Good. Mr. Shaughnessy, Ms. Sumner.
All right. Like Coach, I'm married, so this my opinion is
Right,
full.
yeah,
My wife is an artist, so I still got to eat tonight. So, so I don't want to start no trouble. But for me, it's the non-negotiable for me would be a woman who doesn't understand what a blessing looks like. And a lot of times the blessing can come in the form of a human being. I think God places people in your life for a lesson, and he places people in your life to be a blessing. And, you know, not trying to come from a place of arrogance, but when I met my wife, when we started dating, I told her, like, I'm a great man. I'm a blessing. Like, you need to treat me like I'm a blessing because I'm not like everybody else. So I don't want the same type of conversation that you had with other guys. I don't want the same type of action. Like, it's time to elevate. And if you're serious about me, then just like my actions have to be consistent towards my pursuit to you, I expect the same thing in reciprocity back to me.
Yes.
So it's the not understanding what a blessing looks like. And I do feel like God places certain people in your life, certain period of time, and it's for that reason. And it's time for you to elevate. So when she don't understand it, then she don't deserve that blessing.
That's it. And see, that is the reason why, because when I say non-negotiables, everybody have a non-negotiable. Right. Everybody has things that they will tolerate, even in a marriage. There's still some things that you will not deal with. Like, I wouldn't deal with my husband talking to me any kind of way. That's a non-negotiable for me. So even though you're married, there's still some things we're not going to settle for, you know? So that's the reason why I wanted us to all speak on the non-negotiables, because we all have them.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Queen.
Okay. Mr. Eric Dooley, what do you think your wife still doesn't realize that she does that make you love her more every day?
Well, the one thing I say, she wakes up, so that's a blessing.
Speaking to the mic, sir. Speaking to the mic, sir.
Teach us something, sir.
Just her loving ways. You know, she's gonna look out for others before herself, and that's just who she is.
I love that for you. I love that for you.
Awesome. That's great.
You got to follow? Rodney, what does forgiveness look like from a man's perspective in relationships?
Forgiveness is, if you take notes, write them in pencil so that once the person fixes whatever it is that's wrong, you erase it. The only thing in a marriage that you should write in ink is your marriage vows, your certificate, your marriage certificate, because biblically that's supposed to last forever. And so when you go through problems and we keep wanting to remember them, then forgiveness is impossible.
Right.
And so if God forgives us of our sins and separates us as far as the east is from the west, then we ought to treat everybody else the same.
Oh, you a teacher.
Okay. Do you have a follow-up for that one?
first? First, you don't have a follow-up?
Okay, so how can women help to create an environment where both people can heal and forgive fully?
In my thinking, read the question again.
How can women help create an environment where both people can heal and forgive fully?
And I think one of the brothers up here earlier said the word team. Because if you are a team, then you're working towards everything together.
That's right.
So the healing happens together, the forgiveness happens together, the growth happens together. So I think that would be my answer. Just create a team where we both can strive and thrive together.
Thank you, sir. I thought you said you didn't want to. Yes, yes. You gotta. Yes. What happened? Because total forgiveness is when you can literally be around the person and not bring up what it is that they've done.
Absolutely.
Literally. And a lot of times we say we forgive and we don't truly forgive. So that's when you really have to check yourself. You know, because if you stay with the person, if you say, okay, yeah, I forgive you, if they said, will you forgive me? And you say, yes, I forgive you. At that moment, you made the choice. You made the decision to never bring it up again.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I'll just add to that, forgiveness has to be unconditional
That's
That's
right.
it.
for it to really work.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Love that. Shaughnessy, what's something you admire about your wife's balance? What's something you admire about how your wife balances her identity as a woman, partner, and individual?
Yeah, I can't speak on how much I admire my wife a lot because she's very like detailed about a lot of things, and her days start very early in the morning. We have two small children. One is in first grade and one that's still go to pretty much a home sitter but daycare. But she's up 5:30 in the morning most of the days and getting the kids ready, dropping them off at school. Then she goes to work 9-10 hour days. She's an accountant, so her job is mentally draining. And then she comes straight home most nights without even changing clothes, and she goes straight into homework with our 6-year-old. And most people that have small kids or maybe have had kids that's kind of older now, y'all know the schoolwork is hard these days. It's not like it was when, it's not like it was when we were children, and it's number bonds and all that stuff. It's a lot. And she's there every single night for 2-3 hours, like going through homework with our kids, and then she still has stuff that she has to do for herself for personal and work. And then a lot of nights she's not getting in bed till like after 11 o'clock because she does it all again the next day. And just watching her on a daily basis, it's inspiring to see somebody that never like turns it off, and she still makes sure that I'm good. And I don't ask for anything because I see how much she does on a daily basis, and I always come to her and I be like, what do you need? What do you need from me? And her being an alpha woman, she always try to do it all herself, but a lot of times I try to take things off her plate to make sure that she's not overexerting herself. So she's amazing in what she does, and just watching her, like she's still very active in her sorority, and she's very, like she's, comes to church and do things in the church and stuff. So just being able to watch her on a daily basis is very inspiring to me. So God has blessed me with a great one.
That's good.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, Eric. As a young man growing up in today's world, what kind of woman inspires you to be a better man?
A woman that's heavily in church, in a Bible, because like even for me being a PK, a pastor's son, I haven't really started opening my Bible on my personal time except like 3 years ago. And for somebody that could teach me, kind of get me grounded more in the Word, that's a woman that inspires me, because you care about me, but you also care about yourself, and you also doing kind of works of God. Like, you drawing people closer to God, even though I've been around it all my life. Also, a woman that's goal-oriented, but has a plan to achieve those goals. Because, we could say we want to do this, we want to do that, but we don't have a plan on how to get there. So women like that inspire me. Also, women of high value, people that kind of know who they are and walk like they know who they are, talk like they know they are. And, like, that's a woman that I would approach, not just somebody that's just sitting over here and not really doing nothing with their life. So, like, women like that inspire me to be a better man, inspire me to want to grow, and inspire me to want to kind of help her in a sense. I want to be the best I could be so I can help you be better than who you are at the current moment. So that's the type of woman that inspires me.
Okay. Ladies, give it up for the 23-year-old on the panel. Okay, Kobe, you ready for this question?
I might be.
Okay. What is it about independent women that intimidates some men?
So, first I'll say it's like, there's nothing wrong with independence in a woman. And I say that more so coming from like that team mindset, and as well as like being equally yoked. Like, independent doesn't mean that you don't get provided for, or that you don't have access to a provider because of your independence.
That's good.
The other side of your independence is in the event that I can't provide, like, your independence takes over and our team still wins.
That's it.
So,
Yes, okay.
so, but like from a male perspective, like kind of going back to what we said about like when we achieve things or when certain things happen for us, I'll talk about that like in my singleness as a man, and I'm 36 and I'm still striving for things. But I remember me a few years ago when I wasn't necessarily in the place that I wanted to be. And those are things that we tend to deal with inward. That's one of the things that you can't fix about a man until he's happy with his lot in life and like where he is, or until I feel like I have something to bring you into and provide for you for. I'm not gonna be what you need, or I'm not gonna necessarily be like on that plane that you need me to be on. And for an independent woman, like some of those independent women are saying, baby, I got it, come on. But you're not gonna find the type of man that's gonna support you, that's just gonna let you take care of him. You're gonna be his mama.
Ouch. That's good. That's some good stuff right there. We're going to stop singing
because we have the conversation
I-N-D-E-P-E-N-T.
a lot
Do you know
of
what that
times,
means?
like most women, we would talk about, when we have our own stuff, right? And we meet men, well, we try to figure out why men don't approach a lot of women who have their own, who's, they have their own house, their own job, they have their own money, they are doing their thing, but men don't really approach, not all men, but I'm saying some men just don't approach women that way. What is it about it that will turn a man away from a woman who seems to be doing well for herself?
It ain't natural. Like, it ain't biblical. Like, you're not supposed to find me and bring me into yours. Like, I'm supposed to have mine, or we supposed to get ours together. But aside from that, like, I was always taught too, like, you don't go in a woman's house, or you don't move into a woman's house, or you don't not have your own, or not be able to take care of yourself. But there was a time, and we talk about like the teen mindset and stuff like, there was a time when these affluent women like married a sanitation worker, and Pawpaw went to work, and Pawpaw was the man's man, but Momo was a teacher, and she brought more money in, and like her career and her profession was more affluent and more respectable, but everybody came together like Big Daddy still got the big piece of chicken, but he ain't buy the food. Like,
For sure.
and it's
For
like,
sure.
I don't know. So for my generation, like we saw that, but like that's probably like, I don't know if everybody's exposed to those healthy examples now when you talk about like marriage and family and stuff like, everybody not seeing that. Like a lot of my students like come from single households or broken households. Like my dad in my life could mean he at his house in my life, or it could mean we under the same roof and he in my life. And that's two different kids that you're dealing with. So like we come in and we're not seeing these examples, and they're also not being promoted and pushed. Like marriage is like, it's not being promoted, it's not being pushed. Like people not getting married no more, like talking about it. And that's where the conversation starts, like with why, not with, well, men need to do this and well, women need to do this. Like I don't think we come into the table like with what we have.
Yes.
That's very good. That's good. Chad, what's one thing a woman can do to create a safe space for a man to be vulnerable?
Before you say that, can I jump like, so we listen and we don't judge. We listen and we don't judge. You got, we listen and we don't judge. And we gonna be all right.
Pastor, can he preach Sunday? Let him preach Sunday. Wow, that was good. Creating a safe space, right? That's what you're saying? To be vulnerable. I'll say for me personally, I said it earlier, knowing the strength and the weakness of somebody, right? Just a brief testimony, for me and my wife were brought up on two different sides of the track, right? She grew up in one uptown part of New Orleans. I grew up in Holly Grove, right? My grandparents were married for 60 years, 15 children, 30 grandchildren, right? But we learned from my grandmother, and knowing your place, right? Creating that safe space for him to be vulnerable is creating an atmosphere of peace, right? Walking into the house, the atmosphere is just light. It just feels good, like, man. And when a man feels good, when he feels good going home, right? He's gonna lay down everything that is in his belly to you. He gonna open up his mind. He gonna open up his world. He's going to let you know what bothers him, what hurts him. But what you cannot do is what some women fail to do at times. Don't remind him of that vulnerable place that when you get angry with him.
Wow. Wow. That's good.
Because I could talk to my friend and I could be like, yeah, she, bruh, I could tell that other woman who I was talking to on the phone when she didn't create that space because her mama didn't show her how to. But then you go to my mama's house and you won't know how, well, how he don't, my mama said, you do this? Do you cook? Do you clean? Do you talk to him? Do you sit down and say, baby, you okay? So I learned that. And when I didn't see it, I gravitated outside of my house, which was a wrong place to do, a wrong thing to do. But when you play the games, sometimes you get burned. Sometimes you see it on the other side. You're like, man, I'm going to let this thing go. I ain't got time for this.
It's real talk.
You know?
Real talk. That's real talk.
What you got from Dr. Johnson?
Let me add to that, brother. Listen, ladies, this world for a black man is a lonely place because we are the most hated species. There are people in every type of demographic fighting us.
That's right.
And so we always fighting to get what we want. And the last place
Listen, listen.
that we ought to feel some contention is at home. Luther said a house is not a home. I'm in church. I'm going to stop right there.
Sure.
Yeah.
You can. Get the mic, babe. Get the mic.
It's like being in a boxing ring. Imagine you in the ring fight. Then you go to your corner, and the manager takes the water bottle, hits you upside the head, call you stupid, talking about you ain't doing this, and you steady fussing. I got to fight in the ring, and I got to fight in the corner. I'll never win. And that goes both ways. I want Iris to create a space for me when I come home that I don't have to fight and fuss. I got to deal with all that out there in the world. The one place you want peace is at home. If I can't find it nowhere, let me find it at home. I don't want to fight in the ring and fight in the corner too. All right, I'm not saying nothing else tonight.
Ooh,
That is the reason, I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead first.
And that is the reason why, even when we are talking to couples, married couples and people getting married, we always state, if you are focusing on the other person and the other person is focusing on you, what makes you happy? What makes you smile? What could I do to make things easy and better for you? Everybody would be good. But in today, how we operate today, everybody wants what they want, not considering what the other person may need. And that is another reason why men.
Right. Okay, so we're finished with our questions, but we want to take a couple questions from the audience. And so if you have any questions, raise your hand. We're going to take about 3 or 4 questions from the audience. Do we have any questions for the gentlemen?
Did we answer them all?
Or did they answer them all? Any questions, ladies? Or gentlemen? The gentlemen may have some questions as well. Any questions? Oh, no questions?
All right, then
Oh, okay, we got one. Okay, go ahead.
So, Mr. Shaughnessy, you spoke on.
Okay.
Is it on?
You spoke on all of the persistence and the chivalry, but the question is, where do we actually, when is he gonna find us? Or where can we find him?
The right man you're talking about? Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to, like, you would know, just like he would know. And it basically just comes down to, like I said, it's the consistent with his actions and how intentional he is with that. It's just like the thing with marriage. I knew that I was ready to get married, and it came down to 3 things for me. That I heal, because all of us have trauma, past trauma, so that was the first thing. The second thing was that I practice patience, because now I'm bringing my world into the world of somebody else. And it's just like a job. You can't go into anybody's job doing what you want to do. It doesn't
Come on,
matter,
sir.
like you can't say that this is how I've always did things at my other job or my previous job. That doesn't work that way. So when you're entering in somebody else's world, you have to understand and learn what they need in order to adjust. And the word that I use the most is being agile. You have to be able to be an agile person as being able to adjust and learn and be able to, just be agile to what they need in their life. And the last thing is, have you reached a state of maturation? Because if you haven't matured, then you're not ready for the next level. So you have to check those 3 boxes. So that's how you'll truly know that he's found you or you found him, is when you know that he's checked all 3 of those boxes, because he's going to show you every single day. in something that he does, not just what he says.
That's right.
Okay.
Good evening, panel. I have a question. Well, it is a question. Why do men feel that when you meet them, they don't have to date you, they don't have to court you, they just want to text, what you doing, what you doing, what you doing? I'm busy. Like, you're not coming here. Want to pull up to your house and no. But for real, why men just feel like they always want to pull up on you and text, what you doing, what you doing? That's aggravating.
I think they be scared. They think that first date you could give them that light bill and be like, couple months behind. Couple months behind too.
Somebody got to answer that.
Y'all want to answer that, guys?
No, I'm joking.
What are y'all?
I'm joking.
So I'll say, and it's difficult, but man, I think that goes back to like what your boundaries and your expectations are, and you teach people how to treat you.
That's
and it can get confusing because that man's intentions might be to conquer you, might be to check all these boxes or to jump through these hoops that you laying out for him to prove like his worthiness. And in his pursuit of like proving his worthiness, like you ain't really seeing nothing. He just checking all these superficial boxes. Like has your archetype changed yet? Is he still 6 feet with 6 figures and 6 houses and 6 cars? Or is he practical and is he realistic now? Or is he like, is this the guy at work that's been telling you beautiful and you ain't trying to hear that from him because he on your level? Like, or is this like, are you going, like, are we dating like our toxic habits? Or like, are you always, or how do you always keep looking for the same guy to keep treating you the same way?
That's true. That's good.
And like, that's, like,
Man,
like from a place of support, like it does come down to accountability. Like how many people have you allowed to just pull up on you instead of requiring a date?
Be a casualty.
Like, or do you just want a good do you just want to hear good morning or get a good morning text or good morning beautiful every morning? Like when does it change? Like when you gonna say, boy, get your big head self up and go be successful or something like that? Like I think that goes both ways. Like what patterns do you introduce into y'all's conversations and where does like the variation and stuff come from? Like I'm gonna keep texting what you doing if all we talking about is what we doing right now. Like when does the conversation end? How is it like sustainable? And like communication works both ways. It's not I'm waiting for a man to come talk to me right and hold a conversation with me, but you might not be conversational. Or you might have to get to a place where you can add to that conversation as well. Like men want to be stimulated too, and it's not just physical, like it really is mental. Like women got married to men when they got their mind. Not their body, like not their pockets, like you, like the man that got on the team with you for 30, 35 years, however long, like you got their mind. Like when you get my mind, like you get everything else.
She got your mind, Coach Julie?
Man.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question for Coach Dooley. On social media, they said, what if your religion is not the same as your partner?
There's only one God. So I'm not worried. I'm not practicing a religion.
Yes, sir.
I'm serving God.
There you go.
Serving God.
I'm a child of a household where they worshiped in 2 different forms. Like my dad was Church of God in Christ, and when I was born, like my mother was a Jehovah's Witness, and I'm sitting here in a Baptist church when I went and found God for myself, and I can't so. But I will say, like, I witnessed like some strife and some confusion and some division, like in like who we choosing to worship, and like it's almost like God was in our house, but like I don't think it was necessarily in alignment. Like I think that's more important than what we putting on it. There is one God, but that's an oversimplification. Like we gotta worship together, or we gotta have similar ideas about worship when it comes to being equally yoked. So like traditionally, like the kids go to church with the mom, or like I remember Sundays where like Church of God, like it's live over here, mama. They be dancing and stuff like that, and like they be playing the drums like the kids. Like I learned how to skip when I went to church with daddy, And when I attended like meetings or stuff with my mom, like it was different. That was a different culture. That was a different lifestyle. Like they ain't got no Christmas over here. Like it was a lot. So like I think like I'm a child that came out of a household like that. Like that's a whole lot more important than what we think it is, because your kids are watching, and that lays the foundation for whether or not they seek God and they worship is real and it's for themselves. Like you ultimately bringing your kids behind you. So I think there should be some alignment in who we worship, because my children coming behind me.
Yeah,
And
now I think,
the alignment's gonna come with your, the sign. That's the sign to let you know if it's the right person that's
That's
coming into
it.
your
Right.
life.
That's
So
it.
you ask for the right person, you pray for the right person, then he led the right person there, because now you don't have to do all this
Exactly.
different things to go make sure that it aligns the right way.
Exactly. Exactly.
and I think Coach Dooley is speaking from a standpoint of him and Miss Alicia. So I totally agree when he said we serve one God. I see that, but I also understand too, it's simple, because a couple can get married and then have a kid, and then they say we're gonna christen him, and then the question is, where we gonna christen the man?
Right.
How we gonna christen him? And most people don't realize in a household that religion can become a problem.
Yes, it can.
So that's why we talked about not being unequally yoked.
And that is why you have to discuss that before you get married. So a lot of times we think, and politics as well, but that's why a lot of people, they refuse to talk about certain things in relationships because they want the relationship. But not realizing if you decide to be with this person and you guys are not fellowshipping together, it's going to be a challenge in your marriage. So that has to be the conversation before you even think about marrying a person.
I got another question on social media.
Social media is asking the questions.
They booming over here. They rolling. Oh, Lord. That's my uncle from Texas. Oh, no. Oh, he asking somebody else. Oh, how many red flags are too many?
Ooh. One.
Oh, no, hold up. Y'all, one.
Oh, we,
Hold on.
the
Let me
men.
say something
The
to
men
that then. Let me say something to that. First of all, you'll never meet a perfect person.
Yeah.
Right.
None of us are perfect. So I think sometimes we look for perfection
And
when
we're
we
not
know
perfect.
we don't possess perfection.
That's right.
And I think it's unfair. I don't expect Iris to be perfect. And I hope Iris don't expect me to be perfect. There are some things, watch this, whatever you like in a person, you as a person, not the big stuff, but little things. If that person don't possess one of those things, don't mean that's not the person for you. So to say one red flag,
But let's talk about a red flag.
okay, all right, what's your definition of a red flag?
Let's
Is it
talk
a
about,
non-negotiable?
because, when you talk about non-negotiables and you talk about the red flag, so here's the thing. A red flag I classify a red flag. Well, I'm going to say what I class. If a person, this is just my red flag. If a person will put their hand on you, that's a red flag. If a person will embarrass me in public, in front of my family, disrespect, that is a red flag. If a person hang up in my face, that's a red flag for me. Because it's about respect, especially if you're in a relationship. We should be able to communicate and talk about it. So hanging up for me is a red
Ms. Iris,
flag.
they want to hear from the men.
But I'm just saying
They
what
wanna hear
red
from the men.
flags are. We're not talking about a person. We're not talking about a person being perfect. Yeah, we mess up. We do things that's not cool. But red flags.
Ms. Host, they want to hear from the men.
All right, y'all.
Mr. Eric Williams.
Okay, so
Eric Williams.
from the
What's a red
men,
flag? I'm just trying to help the house.
so
Go
from the
ahead.
men, what do you have, Dr. Johnson?
So I think, Pastor, you may have said this, as long as the red flag is defined as a red flag.
Right.
And I think the issue that happens in dating is that we tend to ignore the red flags.
Right.
And then we try to reason with the red flags and we make them purple or we make them blue or we make them green so we can still deal with somebody even if the person is toxic. So listen, I think when the question was asked, somebody said one, it's quality over quantity. And so if it's something small that you can work with
Yes.
in time you believe will change, it's not really a red flag. It's just a little bump in the road, and you don't jam on your brakes when you get to a bump in the road.
That's it.
You brake, and then you proceed with caution.
Exactly. Exactly.
I would say probably be practical about it, because also in my experience, like what you try to keep quiet get loud. Like it get louder and louder because you trying to suppress it, or it ain't that bad, she going through some things, or he ain't really like that, this just ain't his season. And it's like some of the things that we try to suppress or we try to keep quiet, like they get louder and louder.
Yes.
So I think we have to be like realistic about like what a red flag is, and there's a difference between your red flags and your non-negotiables, or your taste, or your requirements, or like what's individual to you. Like a red flag is a red flag for everybody. No man should be putting his hands on you. But if you want a man to behave a certain way, or if you expect a certain thing from a man and he doesn't do it, that just might not be who that brother is. But that's not necessarily like a red flag.
Yes.
So the song say like, all my good days outweigh my bad days, so I won't complain. Like I don't feel like married people complain a whole lot, like not to the whole world.
Right. Yeah. I would have to also say, I think it's a very thin line when we talk about imperfections, because I think that we use that sometimes as an excuse to cover up for mistakes. So we like to say, well, I'm not perfect, so I'm going to make mistakes, but you're also an adult. You made a choice. So it gets to a point in life where you have to stop saying, like, it's an imperfection, I'm going to make mistakes, because I feel like once you get to a certain age, and it goes back to what I said about the maturation part, once you mature, you understand the difference between a choice and a mistake.
That's it.
So, you know, a mistake is you may have mistakenly withdrawn too much money out the bank or swiped the card too many times. That's a mistake. Like, I made a choice if I go out and give my number to another woman. That's a choice. I didn't make a mistake and do that. Yeah, that's not a mistake. That's a choice. So
And that goes back to what
we
the
have
Bible says. The Bible says, you know, Paul said, when I was a child, I did as a child, spoke as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. So I totally agree with
Yeah, we have to remember that children make mistakes.
Yes.
Adults make choices.
adults make choices.
That's good, Queen.
Yeah. We have any more questions in the audience? We have one back here. Oh, they coming up now.
We're gonna have to close up. We're gonna have to close it up.
This
what's-
question kind of refers back to the beginning of the service when Pastor was speaking on being empathetic and viewing things from other people's perspectives.
Yes.
And I know as a young woman in the dating scene or whatever, sometimes it's a struggle to try to be there for men because they kind of like push you away or make it hard for you to understand them or allow you to be there for them. So what I'm asking is that a sign that they really don't want to deal with you? Or is that like something as a woman you should try to keep pursuing in that man if you really want to, you know?
Why y'all looking at me?
Who
So
wanna
I
take that
think
one?
you do earn like a man's trust, and like you earn that vulnerability. Like that's not something that comes. So you talking about the dating scene, like, well, in my experience, like I feel like
Let me add this in. If you are wholeheartedly doing everything that you can to be there and they're still making it hard for you, is that a sign that they really don't want to deal with you? Or, you know, that's what I'm asking.
it is, and you probably ain't need to hear that from me. But what I mean when I say that is like goes back to what Lady Iris said about like sometimes we want the relationship or we want this stuff to work, so we are tolerating these things, and it's like the first couple months or whatever, like you're not gonna get my life story, like you're not gonna get everything, and I think in the same breath that like a man might put a time stamp on like being intimate with a woman, or after so long, like we check this box, like a woman might expect, well, you're gonna start being vulnerable and telling me everything because I've been talking to you for this long, and like now it's time for me to know your whole life story. And we were at Men Talk last week, and we don't talk about what happened at Men Talk, but one of the comments was about fear. And like as men, Like, it's hard for us to sit around and have a conversation about being scared. So, like, that fear and that vulnerability kind of goes hand in hand. Like, how many people do you know that I probably trusted with everything? Or like, at what point in my life do you feel like I learned to stop telling people everything and stop disclosing everything? So I think that's something that like has to be earned. I'm sorry, Real.
Yeah, no, so I think part of that is when you're getting to know a person, a lot of times I always say this, it's one of the greatest statements I've ever learned. It's not what's wrong with you.
It's what happened.
It's what happened to you.
Right.
Yeah.
When you figure out what happened to a person, now I understand why you respond. And that's why I realize why you the way you are, because something has happened in your life. And that's what happens, whether it's man or woman. That sometimes, just as Kobe said, we said stuff and people used it. They heard us. So now I'm kind of watching it now. All right, good. Here you go.
So,
We got-
so
we're
I do
gonna-
have one more comment to the young lady who just spoke. You said that you are wholeheartedly doing everything that you can. Is that your definition of wholehearted, or is it his? Are you doing what you think you need to do for him, or you?
Yeah.
And it may not just be the right time for them to completely open up to you.
Yeah.
And it just may be a timing thing. It may not be, like Pastor said, it may not be what's wrong with you. It's just what happened. And maybe somebody betrayed his trust some time ago, and he's just going through his healing process. I think we said that earlier, too, to get to that point. And so how do you win that battle? You just got to stay persistent if you know that's what you want.
Okay, we can take one more question.
One more.
One more.
One more question.
One more question.
Okay, so my question goes with more so the financial part. Because I'm a young woman dating, and I'm not gonna say I got my stuff together, but I got my stuff together. And right now, I think one of the biggest things is dating guys who come with a little bit less.
Say it again.
Come with a little bit less. Financially. So, yeah, make less than me. So, I don't really know how to go about that. Because I don't want to count it as a red flag because, like you said, it may be a bump in the road. So, am I supposed to just count them out, or?
Nope. So.
There's that question.
So your question is, you make more than he does, and you want to know if that's an issue, or?
No, it's not a red flag.
How he spend his money?
I mean, is he financially irresponsible, or is just whatever?
It's not what you make, it's how you use it or how you spend it.
Right. That's
right.
And like I would tell you, probably pay attention to that. Like, I'll be personal too. Like, if a man's mind is on like providing, like, you move differently with your money. If you geared towards, because in my singleness, like, well, I also have the opportunity to be selfish. Like, I can make impulse purchases. I can do things that you can't necessarily do in a family, or certain things like have to be talked about. So, like, I think when you looking at this man and like his finances, it's probably more so like probably look at how he spends it and how that coincides with how, like, it can work. Like, what you do and what he does, like, it can work. Like, are you prepared for him to pay all the bills, but you buy all the food? Like, groceries high. Like, it's all about how he spends. I think it's more so about like how he spends his money and like what he prioritizes. Like you people that tell you what they do with their treasure and their time.
Yeah, and I also think it comes down to the other attributes that he exudes as well, because we all know that, like, you know, when you're in a relationship, it's not going to always be 50-50.
It's
You know,
never.
somebody may have to do 90-10, somebody may
Yeah.
have to do 80-20.
Yeah.
But I also think that the word provider has been misconstrued over the year, because when we think about the word provider in the sense of a man, we think about financial. But does he provide peace? Does he provide stability? Does he provide consistency? So it's a lot of things that I feel like a man can provide, and if he's doing all of the other attributes why he's getting himself together, then the potential is there to hold that down until he gets it together.
Okay, come.
In
All right.
my opinion.
And I think
That's good. Hold up, Ms. Ives. Hold up. Coach Dooley, come on. I see you got what you say.
I think that's a twofold question, though. The reason why I say that, it depends on where you are in your relationship. Because we're talking about the finances and we're just dating. So obviously we're paying our own bills because we live in our own place. Now, when we become married couples, then we become one. So it really doesn't matter. Just depending on how fast you guys are going. Where you headed at? Are y'all headed for marriage or y'all just dating?
Okay.
Somebody had a question over here.
Okay, so Joy had a question back there.
This is specifically for Mr. 35 years. Yeah. So, my husband and I, we're a young couple. We've been together for 12 years. You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. We've been together for 12 years, been married for 8. We run a business. We have 3 young kids. We coach all the kids in extracurricular activities. We doing this, we doing that. We literally pull all over the place. So I guess my question is, what advice would you give a young couple? And I'm saying we're a young couple. Like I said, we've been married for 8 years, but how do we get to 35 years in this place that we're in where we're pulled all over the place? We still love each other very much, but because I feel like we don't have as much time as we need for each other, what advice would you give us to kind of keep pushing so that we can make it to 35 years married?
You know, that's a great question. I'll say this here. Within my profession is very, very challenging because we travel a lot. We do a lot of different things. But the one thing I've been able to do within my marriage and my family, I involve them in everything. And how I involve them, I make sure that they come to the games. I make sure that they come around practice when time permits, because my wife is an educator as well. But I make sure that they're not left out. I may bring the players over to the home so that we can be together. I don't want them to feel that I'm going, and they're just staying here watching it from afar. So I make sure that they're included in. And you got to understand that the support got to come both ways. I think my wife supported me 100% better than anyone. That was my head coach, to be honest with you. She made sure that everything was taken care of.
That's good.
Hold up. Miss Alicia right here.
You have to keep God first. You have to. You're going to have some trials and tribulation, but we pass some mountaintops, and we are in our valley lows. Keep God first. Everything will come.
Man, this is what I'm talking about. Coach.
But you can't give Alicia the mic. She's gonna cry. She cry all the time.
I think Joy had a question back there. She's been having her hand up.
Yeah, Joy.
Kiana doesn't want to give me the mic.
Okay.
I think you guys have done a very good job explaining a lot. You've helped me look at things from a different perspective. But Pastor said something, and I've been sitting here trying to figure out how to pose the question because my original thought was a comment, a response. But my question is, how do you stop bringing it up? When things happen and people are not creating those safe spaces for you to express the way you feel about certain things, how do you stop bringing it up?
I think you got to think of forgiveness in the Bible. How he forgave them. You're talking about even at the cross. He said, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do."
Yeah.
So if you can just think that you have to be forgiven for the things that you do, that you know that you got to move past that situation, because it really just a test to bring you to another level. My dad used to always say, you pass the test, you go to the next grade.
That's right.
So in order to get through that test, you got to make sure that you got to you got to forgive and forget. That's the way I look at it. People like to say, I'm going to forgive you, but I'm never going to forget. You don't forget it, you haven't forgave it. So it's still within your heart. So you gotta know what the Lord is doing for you every morning, that he's forgiving you, because it could be that day that you don't get up.
So to answer, Coach, and you're right, Joy, the spiritual part is, to that is, just like God forgives us. And he said he'll take your sins and put it in the sea of forgetfulness, never to bring it up again. So that's a fight within, emotional intelligence. That, yeah, I thought about it. But here's the thing. When you open your mouth, that words have power. That you're sowing seed. So you're saying, how can I not? By keeping your mouth closed. I wish I could tell you there's another way to do it. But if you keep talking about, you did this, but you did this, and you did this, it'll never heal. It'll never heal. And here's the thing. You're not just hurting the person, but you're hurting yourself. You're hurting yourself. But once again, there's a whole lot that goes with that.
And I believe this too, because when a person asks for you to forgive them, and you say, I forgive you, at that point, that person's actions have to line up with what they say.
There you go. I totally agree.
But if they're consistently and constantly still doing the same thing that they have asked you to forgive them for, then that's just who they are.
That's right.
Because you can't keep doing the same thing and coming back asking me to forgive you for the same thing.
I totally agree.
So like my grandmother said to me, she said, you have to decide. She said, if a person mess up one time, you forgive them. The second time, you forgive them. After the third time of them doing the same thing, you need to decide then if that's something that you want to deal with or you want to let it go. Because that is just who that person is.
Well, that wasn't her grandmother, that was mine. But anyway.
That's my grandmother too, dear.
Are there any more questions? Okay, we have one more.
This is it, because we got to go. Normally, Pastor be fussing about us
Yeah,
still
he'll
being
normally
in
be
church.
fussing.
Okay.
We have.
This is the last one for
It's
sure.
the last
For
question
real.
from online.
Okay.
So the person is asking, can you explain the difference between extending grace versus giving too many chances when courting/dating?
Okay, Chad, you want to take that one, Chad?
Chad.
So, grace is available, salvation is available for everybody, right? The Bible says there's two types of grace, right? And the second type of grace will extend you eternal life. When grace is given, it's just a process of acceptance. You accept where you are. And once you accept where you are, if that person is willing to give you the grace to move forward, then it'll happen. But if not, it won't happen.
So to answer that question, grace, I said I wasn't going to say nothing. All right, then I'm going to say this. The Bible says, should we continue in sin?
That's right.
That grace may abound? God forbid. In other words, God gives us grace. He gives it. But just like Lady Iris said, he don't want us to keep doing what we're doing,
That's
saying,
right.
oh, I'm covered under grace. No, that's not. And then too, listen, y'all, let's be real. There are some things, we could talk about all of this, but then some relationship is based upon you and that person.
That's it.
Everything tonight may not be said.
Because this is
But
not
there's
a
some
blueprint.
there's some stuff you know that's not good in this relationship.
Right.
Then there's some things you know that's really good in this relationship that you have to fight through.
Exactly.
So every relationship is not just based on everything we said tonight.
That's right.
There are some things that you have to know get to know that person, and that person gets to know you. And you got to make it up in your mind, is this worth us fighting through? I was telling a couple tonight, it's not, the goal is not the destination, or that's the dream. It's the journey. The journey is the dream. The journey is the destination. I wish we could snap our fingers and one day be there for 35 years, but it don't happen that way. It's a journey. That's what it takes. And you got to make it up in your mind that we're going to ride together. And this ain't just marriage. This friendship. Sometimes this brothers and sisters. That we family, we gonna ride together no matter what. All of this, it's not just boyfriend, girlfriend, dating. It's relationships all over. We gotta make it up in my mind what we gonna do. And sometimes you gotta realize we gonna ride together. Me and Iris gonna ride till the wheels fall off. Me and my children gonna ride till the wheels fall off. Me and Beacon Light gonna ride till the wheels fall off. We ain't going nowhere. All right, come on, y'all. We gotta go.
Okay, so guys, thank y'all so much. This has been amazing. So thank y'all for pouring into the ladies tonight. Ladies, give these guys a round of applause. Y'all, thank you so much. So guys, final words. If you could give every woman in here one empowering message, what would it be? Starting with you, Dr. Johnson.
So there's a cycle of love. And if I pour 100% into you and you pour 100% into me, neither one of us ever go empty.
I'd probably say one of the common things we talked about tonight was just, you know, like fighting. Like, I don't want to be fought with, but I do want to be fought for. And like, even when I look at the sisters with their fatigue on, like we should have took from this, like, our love is kind of a battle, and it's not a battle with the person that you with, but it's a battle against everything that's out there. So like, don't fight with me, but like, definitely fight for me.
That's good.
I think within relationships, you got to understand that he mentioned earlier about team. You got to work together, and understanding that no one is perfect. We're all striving for perfection. So as long as we work together with one goal and one God, then we have a chance.
I'll kind of give my message to like the younger women in the generation. Be what you want to attract first before you go out looking for anything. Because like, you know, a lot of, you know, young women kind of search for a man at this young age. They want to be a wife. That's the goal. They want to, you know, do certain things like that. But be that person that you want to attract, you know, because it'll come. You know, you are what you attract, so it's going to come. So.
Just know that, you know, you are worthy. You are a blessing. It doesn't matter what you've been through in your past. There is somebody that's there for you. There's somebody that's ready to love you, and you are worthy of that. Understand what your value is. Understand what your worth is. Don't discount that ever. Set your expectations. Make that person rise up to that expectation. So when you let somebody into your world, as I mentioned earlier, make sure that they're prepared to enter your world, and don't ever, ever, ever waver away from that.
And with yourself, just be open, be coachable, and teachable to learn from every lesson that you've experienced in your life.
Whew, this was amazing. Ladies, can you please stand to your feet and give these gentlemen a round of applause? This has been amazing. Thank you guys. Thank you.
So much.
Can I pray for them?
Yes, definitely.
Y'all laid some knowledge, brother. Y'all, man, I'm good now. Let me pray with you and pray for you if you don't mind. Father, in the name of Jesus, the God we love and the God we trust. God, we believe that tonight your spirit was here. And God, I pray now that we heard something that will change us and make us better. But also, God, I pray now that we heard something that will settle our spirits and our minds. Because, God, we realize they that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. God, some of us just need to slow down. Because the right time and the right place, you already have that place and time for us. So, Father, I pray now that many of us will focus on you and our relationship with you. Because, God, we believe that all of these things shall be added. So, Father, I thank you now for all of these men who spoke with wisdom and knowledge and the Spirit of God. But now, God, I pray now for all of those who are here tonight. God, as one body. God, I don't know what somebody in here need tonight, but I believe, God, that you spoke to us. Now, God, allow us to even to apply what we heard to our lives. And God, we're going to trust you. We're going to believe you. Now, God, as we leave this place, but never from your presence, allow your guardian angels to watch over us, protect us, and keep us. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Man, go ahead.